President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration is in panic as President Donald Trump of the United States, acting through one of his strongest and staunchest allies, Senator Ted Cruz, are working on a bill against persecution of Nigerian Christians. The presidency has reacted, denying that there was such a persecution. But in this video, we're also going to show you the testimony of Bishop Wilfred Anagbe, the Bishop of Makurdi, his presentation at the United States Congress on alleged Christian persecution in Nigeria, to counter the narrative by the presidency that there was nothing like persecution of Christians based on available data from Bishop Anaba. Now let's look at what this is all about. Senator Ted Cruz has introduced what he called the Nigerian Religious Freedom Accountability Act of 2025. The bill protects Christians and other religious minorities being persecuted in Nigeria by holding accountable Nigerian officials who facilitate Islamist, jihadist violence and the imposition of blasphemy laws. According to Senator Ted Cruz, he said, and I quote, "Nigerian Christians are being targeted and executed for their faith by Islamist terrorist groups and are being forced to submit to Sharia law and blasphemy laws across Nigeria. It is long past time to impose real cost on the Nigerian officials who facilitate these activities. And my Nigeria Religious Freedom Accountability Act uses new and existing tools to do exactly that. I urge my colleagues to advance this critical legislation expeditiously." Now, according to Ted Cruz, this is the background of this bill. Religious persecution and violence against Christians and other religious minorities in Nigeria is endemic, driven in significant part by Islamist jihadism and institutionalized Sharia law in large parts of Nigeria. Since 2009, over 52,000 Nigerian Christians have been murdered by jihadists, and over 20,000 Christian churches and religious-based institutions have been destroyed. And on June 13, more than 200 Christians were murdered by Fulani jihadists in a Nigerian village. Boko Haram, which kidnapped over 270 mostly Christian schoolgirls in 2014, remains active. 12 state governments enforce Sharia law, including blasphemy laws, and the federal government also criminalizes blasphemy nationwide. The Nigerian Freedom Accountability Act of 2025 specifically will impose targeted sanctions against Nigerian officials who facilitate violence against Christians and other religious minorities, including by Islamic terrorist groups. Impose targeted sanctions against Nigerian officials who enforce Sharia and blasphemy laws. Require the Secretary of State to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Require the Secretary of State to ensure that Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa remain designated as entities of particular concern. Now, that is the Ted Cruz bill that is, in fact, I learned that what has delayed this bill from being pushed forward now is because of the shutdown of the U.S. government, because of the problem that the Congress is having with the Trump administration, in which the state the services of the U.S. government had been shut down for quite some time now. But this is details of the bill as was shared by Ted Cruz, which you see the link in this video, this screenshot of the press release from Ted Cruz, where he itemized what this bill is all about. But basically, it is a bill to hold Nigerian government officials accountable for killings in Nigeria and to ensure that they facilitate religious freedom in Nigeria. It is known as Nigeria Religious Freedom Accountability Act of 2025. Of course, the presidency of Nigeria, they are not going to allow that to lie low without countering it. Shortly after it started trending about this bill by Ted Cruz, who, as I said earlier on, is a staunch ally, is a Republican. And you know that the Republicans are in control of the Congress right now. And he's a staunch ally of Donald Trump. He is presenting this bill to ensure that the issues of alleged persecution of Nigerian Christians is addressed by the Nigerian government, or there will be consequences for those who ought to do something about it and they are not doing anything about it. Now, when this news started trending, the presidency, of course, will react. Bayo Ananoga has reacted on behalf of the presidency. He was denying that there was no persecution. Christians are not being persecuted anywhere in Nigeria, and that the killings that are going on in Nigeria is mutual, that everybody is targeted, both Muslims and Christians, by Boko Haram and other jihadist organizations that operate in Nigeria, that Nigeria is not into any religious war. There's no religious discrimination. Nobody is being targeted for discriminatory ground on basis of religion and all that. And if you see the headline by the Post, it said that Bayo Ananoga warns Ted Cruz. I don't know how he's warning Ted Cruz, a senator of a U.S. Congress, but the man has made out his bill, and let us see what will come out of it. And also, the debate about whether there's religious persecution in Nigeria or not was also amplified recently when the Bishop of Makurdi, Bishop Wilfred Anagbe, not long ago, he was at the U.S. Congress to talk about religious persecution, genocide against people of Benue State and other Nigerians, where he presented an address to a U.S. Congress, about this particular issue we are talking about. So we are going to watch it right away. Watch.
In fear, because at any point it can be our turn to be killed, but to remain silent is to die twice. So I have chosen to speak. I speak on behalf of the millions who are in the camps. In Benue State, in Makurdi Diocese alone, in my diocese, I have about 9 camps. 9. On the 5th of March, which was Ash Wednesday, we visited one of the camps, and many of my priests and religious went to the other camps, distributed them to begin the Ash Wednesday with our faithful who are there, because we are the voice of the voiceless. We have to talk for the defenseless. We have to talk about the weak and those who cannot talk about themselves. In one of the camps called the Mega Camp, there were over 3,000 inmates of that camp, and which was a record given to us by government. I speak on behalf of them and those children who have no husband, who have no father, and even their own voices taken away by the politicians who promised to help them, but have become the willing tools of the jihadists because they are talking politically correct statements, looking for next elections to come. I speak on behalf of those whose loved ones have been killed, but no one has even offered a word of consolation to them. I speak on behalf of the thousands of young girls who have been adopted and raped because no one, not even the media, mentions them anymore. Foremost, I speak on behalf of my flock who are unable to worship freely and unable to return to their ancestral farms and homes because that land has been ruthlessly taken from them by the armed herdsmen. And where they say they want to live in peace with the natives, if you must farm, you have to pay tax to hire the land which belongs to you. That is slavery, to say the least about it. As prosperous Nigeria is in the African continent, and tell you, if there's outbreak of war in Nigeria, no country around us, Chad, Niger, Ghana, Guinea, Togo, no country can contain the population that will flee to these places. No country can be able to house over 5 million refugees. It's not possible because of that. And if 1 million refugees run to Chad and Niger, they'll collapse that country because there'll be no plan to take care of them. So we have to be very careful. Today, I urge you all to use every means within your mandate to start developing a strong and good relationship with Nigeria, where you know that when you speak of human dignity, you are also speaking of the same God-given right you believe is unalienable. Consider that Nigeria can be your ally, but it cannot be one where half the population is in the process of being murderously eliminated. Work with us, the churches, and other Nigerians of goodwill. We are working for a peaceful and prosperous society, and our desperate plight has been set aside U.S. policy for too long, to the cost of thousands of lives. Concretely, I request and I plead, I ask you to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. This has both a practical and diplomatic meaning to signal that you are paying attention to what happens to us and elsewhere in the world. Because
that was Bishop Wilfred Anagbe, the Bishop of Makurdi in Benue State, when he made a presentation at the United States Congress. And if you look at the last part of the excerpt of that clip, you see that he, after enumerating some of the evidence of targeted killings of Christians in Benue State, did call on the United States Congress to redesignate Nigeria a country of particular concern. You know, what is a country of particular concern? Now, the United States do designate certain countries as country of particular concern under the International Religious Freedom Act of 1998. This is an official label highlighting nations where the government has engaged in or tolerated particularly severe violations of religious freedom. It is part of the U.S. Department of State's effort to promote global religious liberty as a core foreign policy priority. Now, before you are declared a country of particular concern, a country qualifies as a country of particular concern if it meets one or more of these thresholds: systemic, ongoing, and egregious violations such as torture or cruel treatment of individuals due to their religious beliefs, prolonged detention without charges for religious reasons, disappearance or extrajudicial killing of religious adherents, forced religious conversions, or denials of the right to change the religion. The violations must be particularly severe, going beyond general discrimination to involve state-sponsored persecution. Now, before Bishop Anaba, Bishop Wilfred Anagbe made that presentation at the U.S. Congress, where he said that they should redesignate Nigeria as a country of concern. Nigeria was already designated as a country of concern by the Donald Trump administration during his first term. Nigeria was designated, and it's all because of activities of Boko Haram and this alleged persecution of Christians in Nigeria. Under Trump's first term, Nigeria was designated a country of particular concern. And of course, there are consequences that come with that designation for the officials of that country. Okay? But what happened was that when Trump was defeated in 2020 and Biden came to power, one of the first things that Biden did was to remove Nigeria from being designated a country of particular concern. And now what you have is Trump 2.0, second term Trump. And the same issue of Christian persecution has also come up again in the front burner. Only recently, American actor and comedian Bill Maher trended around the world for drawing attention to what he called Christian genocide in Nigeria that are not being reported by the international media. And because of that, his statement, which he did at HBO, that went viral all over the world, where he talked about that over 100,000 Nigerian Christians have been killed since 2009 by Boko Haram and other jihadist organizations in Nigeria, and that over 18,000 churches have been burnt. Okay, that issue brought the Nigeria into the front burner because Bill Maher was saying, why is it that nobody is talking about Nigerian Christians being genocided while everybody is talking about Gaza in the Middle East? Okay, so that shows that Nigeria is still an issue of discourse. And of course, Ted Cruz is coming up with this bill, and of course it will remind Trump, the administration is aware that Nigeria was once designated as a country of particular concern. But when Biden came, Biden, who is an offshoot of Barack Obama administration that interfered in Nigeria's election in 2015, they quickly removed Nigeria from that designation. But now, even if you look at the bill, this bill presented by Ted Cruz, he's also demanded that Nigeria be designated as a country of particular concern. It means that if they do that, they will be doing what Bishop Wilfred Anagbe has pleaded with them when he testified at U.S. Congress recently, where he talked about that Nigerian government can stop the alleged ethnic cleansing going on in Benue State, killing of Christians, taking over their land and all that happening in Benue State, that Nigerian government has the capacity to do it, that they are not doing it. So this kind of bill, what it does is it will compel the Nigerian government to do something about what is going on in Benue, in Plateau, or any other place that people felt that they are being ethnic cleansed, being sacked, and other people are coming to take over their land and all that and all that. That's basically what this bill is all about. That's what my thinking. Because Ted Cruz, if you look at the last sentence on it, it talks about reason that Nigeria should be declared a country of particular concern. That would be good news for Bishop Wilfred Anagbe, who you saw his video, where he was lamenting what his congregation in Benue State are passing through. And his story is no different from the stories you hear in many parts of the Middle Belt, Nigeria, and all that, and all that. I don't know what to think about Ted Cruz' new bill that he has proposed to protect Nigerian Christians from persecution. What do you think about this bill that he has presented? What is your position? Do you support that such a bill be made, or you think that it's unnecessary? And what is your take that while the President Bola Tinubu is saying that there is no persecution of Christians, that there is nothing like that, you saw the presentation by Bishop Wilfred Anaba. What have you to say about all that in terms of the way forward for Nigeria, so that Nigeria will no longer be among the countries that will be mentioned when you talk about religious persecution of any kind, whether it is persecution of Muslims or persecution of Christians or persecution of even atheists? What is your position on this very issue about Ted Cruz new bill and the response from the Nigerian government, and then Bishop Wilfred Anagbe, that you saw a clip from his presentation at the US Congress? Whatever is your position, let's hear from you at the comment section. Thank you for watching this video, and if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.